Yeah, no, it's very
Have a seat.
Hi, I can't hear you.
We're gonna unmute soon. Oh, she said she can't hear you. Hang on. There we go. So amazing to be here. Thank you so much for jumping to the call of duty of letting me come here tonight and share my life's passion, and hopefully always words coming from my heart and entering your heart. Before we start, I do want to say that we're going to do about an hour class here, and we're going to jump to the sea of the next destination just a half a block away from here, and we'll continue this class in a deeper way. So those of you who want question and answers, I will be after that class available. If not, you can get a phone number. I couldn't resist the opportunity to be at Be'er Miriam at Rabbi Alon's beautiful hotel. Oh my gosh, and his program that they do there. So anyway, I'm hoping today that
They can't hear you.
oh, should I,
Push over.
you want to? You can't hear me. Oh, that's funny. Can you hear me now? It's so awkward to. Who can hear me?
Everybody.
Okay, can you come closer? Oh, wait, I think this should not be. Okay, so I'll speak louder. Is that better?
Now I can hear you.
Yay! Because I love raising my voice. It's really fun. And I have an excuse too. Okay, so only with holy intentions. I'm here, please God, to bring to light a journey of a lifetime of trying to crack the code of how much we desire and how much we have the will and the passion to really be the best in our relationships. It's really there. But somehow, some way, what they said, what they didn't do, in the heat of the moment, we somehow lose that self-mastery to be able to really respond in the more enlightened way, in the way that's coming from really the best place in our heart, in a way that will be really saving the moment. So one of the key ingredients that we're going to focus on today is not to change. Because that's the true essence of who we are. That's who we want to be with everyone, especially our spouse or our children, you know. So my prayer to you is to not change. And we're going to learn some of the tactics and techniques and some biblical stories to help inspire us to really be able to integrate what we already know and what we already want to accomplish in our relationships. So what does it mean to not change? One of the teachings of Rabbi Ginsburg taught me this lesson, that Hashem is so compassionate. He is so compassionate. He has like 13 levels of compassion, and 2 of them are the same. If you notice, every Elul, Yom Kippur, right, all the Rosh Hashanah, Hashem, Hashem, and then the rest. So why is it that there's 2 names that are the same? To teach us the first level of compassion is God's amazing, like, love and oh my gosh, like, just so infinitely compassionate. The second name of Hashem that describes his compassion is for those who have sinned against him. He keeps his same name to teach us he doesn't change. If this one does that and that one does that, his heart is open. He is a forgiving, loving Father. And we know that we want to be able to emulate his ways. That's a key ingredient to relationships. Don't change. So, one of the key ingredients of how to stop yourself from losing that equilibrium is to practice in the art of silence. To be able to quiet the beating heart, the hurt heart, the how dare heart, and all those things that are coming in the moment. Being able to take that deep breath and say, either I got to get out of the situation in a very delicate way until I calm down my beating heart that's hurting and upset. As the pasuk says in the Tehillim, in silence, righteousness do speak. First, you got to be silent. Check it out. Be mindful. Are you symptomatically, physiologically losing your cool? Some people have a hot face. Some people, their stomach is churning or nose flaring. Heated energy. That's a clue. So you somatically see what's going on in your body and get in the habit of checking it out. Be silent, almost like when you see an ambulance and like wee wee and like everything parts so the car can go. So you got to part and you got to get out of there because the signal of your body is telling you, not now. You're going to lose your cool. You're going to regret it. Then you're going to have to explain why. It's going to put a burning fire more like on fire because of the gasoline that you might be pouring because you're not in that stoic, calm space. Silence so that you could speak righteous. You need that time. Because as we have learned in our classes in biology and that our emotional part of our brain, the limbic part of our brain, works 3 to 4 times faster than our rational mind. So something's happening organically, that's our heart that's going to be triggered. It's not our fault. Hasidus and deep teachings of the Torah says, and science, by the way, has caught up to teach us that our brain does have the power to override and be trained to go against the natural order of our emotionalism, where the anger, or even if not, that look of anger, and even if not, that voice, or even if not, that broken feeling of not really hearing what they're going through. Imagine the scene. Someone falls in the mud. And you see from a distance, oh, how kind. The person has like so many bags and they are reaching out seemingly to help the person that just fell in the mud all over. And the person doesn't reach out their hand to help, but then takes the mud and throws it in their face and adds more mud to the person that just fell. Everyone would see them like, what are you doing? Are you like on the planet Earth? Like, where is your humanity? That's just like not what you do. Everyone has those muddy moments. Everyone has a struggle at some level. Everyone, especially those difficult children, spouse, in-laws, whoever it is, they're like in pain. Something's not totally there for them to be their best self. So what we have to understand is that just like, who would do that, right? Well, we have to be careful, are we doing that in a different way when a person has disappointed us, when a person has hurt us? You know, Pesach is coming up and you'll see the teachings that you're supposed to blunt the teeth of that whatever one, not the righteous one, because they're not wicked. They're in pain. And to blunt their teeth is not to knock them down with your sharp words, because that never works. Blunt means take out the sharpness of what they just said. Blunt it. They're in pain. They're suffering. they're hurting, or my biggest favorite word, they are clueless. Say it. They are clueless for whatever reason, whether they're Tikkun Gilgul of 10 and they're a kindergarten soul that's just beginning to come into the world, or you might be the PhD soul that came 1,000 times and you get it. Never forget this story. And this story opened my eyes that even the greatest, holiest of person, which the Lubavitcher Rebbe explains when the Beit HaMikdash was about to be destroyed, and the army official, as they would want to do, to be their last wish before they were going to do something so destructive, came to Yochanan ben Zakkai and asked him, "What is your last wish before we the city down?" What did he answer? To save Yavna. You can imagine people were like, "What? You had a chance? You had a chance to save the Beit HaMikdash? You chose the Yavna?" The teachings of our sages relate that God beclouded his mind, this holy tzaddik's mind, so that he would choose Yavna for the sake of what God knew was going to save the Jewish people, not those sacrifices in the temple. Learning Torah was going to save the Jewish people and continue the legacy. So sometimes you yourself, Hashem can becloud your mind, and sometimes it's your spouse or your child. For whatever reason, you have to go through this experience. Because just like glasses, that if you put a mirror on it, it would block the vision ahead, but the blockage of that like silver makes it a mirror. So it helps you see things about you that would not be seeable if you wouldn't experience that in the person that you're dealing with. It will help cultivate soul powers of yours that would not be able to come out but for the experience of whatever this tikkun or this gift of experience to help you reach that new heights. So we see so many stories of even like someone like Eliyahu HaNavi. And when I read this, it was in the book Mirrors of our Copper Mirrors of Our Life. I can't remember the book, but the story was like, and I've read it again and again, different places, where Eliyahu HaNavi, who was such a zealot for Hashem, and we all are in our own special way, to like really want the child or the spouse or whatever relationship for God's sake, for the right sake, for the reason of Kedusha, like Eliyahu HaNavi. But he was running for his life because he was too gevura and he was too much of a zealot. And they wanted him out of the picture, that he had to run into the mountain. And God caused a fiery, crashing noise. And God said, a voice, "There you will not find me." And the bolding rocks breaking like an earthquake and a whirlwind. And every time the voice came out and said, "There, you will not hear me." All of a sudden, there was quiet. And then a still, soft voice came. And what did it say? Basically, "There you will find me." Eliyahu HaNavi was instructed to go get Elisha, and the mantle was now over. Why? Because Hashem said, basically, if you would have maybe listened more to the people, maybe you would have understood their struggles, maybe that would have been easier for them to get guidance from you. But you were just too gavordik, you were just too much a zealot, and it was too forceful for them to be able to get influenced by you. So, Baruch Hashem, Hashem gave us the Torah, and He gave us this Hasidic roadmap to help us understand erase my name. I want peace. Don't be a zealot for me, please. It's not going to work. Maybe other generations a little, but really this generation is not tough love. It's about listening. It's about compassion for the struggle they're going through. It's about cultivating this ability to really get away from your ego and your hurt feelings and really look into what are their needs. What is it that they're going through so that you prevent throwing more mud or that gasoline on a burning fire. So we see that this, in essence, we have to cultivate infinite patience. Just like a baby doesn't go from crawling to running a marathon, and maybe never, right? I just get to the destination of what you need to do here on this earth. So some children, some spouse needs even more than another child or another spouse of someone else. They need our patience. And we learn so much in so many stories that because of the lack of patience, whether it was Adam and Chava just 1 more hour before you could have that tree and that fruit, or whether it was, Chet Egel Zahav, had they just waited, whether it was David and Melech with Bathsheba, or Abigail even, thankfully Abigail had the infinite patience and said, no, we're not supposed to be together yet. It's going to happen. So let me tell you one story. When Yitzchak was giving the blessings to his son, Rivka convinced and persuaded her son, Yaakov, to dress up like Esav and putting his coat. And all of a sudden he comes in, and what does Yitzchak say? Oh, you look like an Esav, basically. You feel like an Esav. But the Kol Yaakov, the not tzaddik person, the Rasha kind of person, the challenged person that's challenging you. Rivka did this because she wanted Yaakov to get the blessing, to pour it into every neshama. Don't look at the outside, Esav, whatever. Kol Yaakov is inside. That's the true person. And just like when the Jewish people were just about to go through, hopefully again, all over again, Pesach, Yitzias, Mitzrayim, and the waters didn't split. Why? Again, to teach us a lesson. The water split only till the casket of Yosef Atzadik that came at the water's edge. Again, to listen to the message. Why did the waters not split? Because up in Shemaim, they made an agreement. When the Jews come to the water's edge, we'll split. Well, these don't look like Jews. They reached the 49th level of Tumah. 1 more second in Mitzrayim, they could have fallen into the 50th. The waters didn't recognize these people underwater, so they didn't split. Comes the casket, and the message to the waters are, don't you remember? Look, they went through bondage, they went through hell, they're buried. Atzamot in Hebrew is etzem. To teach us the lesson that these bones represent the essence of the neshama that's buried. But these are Jews. This is the agreement. They're there. Just you have to dig deeper to find them. Their outer behaviors are X. But the inner Kol Yaakov. Another scene, Rachel Imenu meets up with Yaakov, and Yaakov weeps on Rachel. Like that. With the message to ingrain in the DNA of our soul. Weeping compassion. Rachel represents the font of all souls, impregnating us with this soul power. Compassion. Weep. Don't take it personally. It has nothing to do with you. I'm telling you. Yes, you can learn from the things that you might be doing. It's not like you're scot-free of not doing anything to see what you could do a little to fix the situation. But number one, compassion. Number one, open your heart to what they're going through. I mean, it's just fascinating to me because I do not forget the teachers that were really disrespectful to me as a child. I do not forget to just cultivate that compassion of what it is to be a child and the struggles. But somehow many adults forget that teacher that didn't do so right by them, or that parent even. And it's not because, they were so raised that way and they're continuing the cycle. You could, and I'll tell you why it's happening. Because to be able to really integrate knowledge, and trust me, I've seen my stories of relatives of mine that my relatives have told me, even after surgery of a lung cancer, both the doctor and the patient smoked a cigarette after. They saw the gook on the lungs. They just had a surgery. Like, the doctor knows here. But to implement what you know here, and that's a lot what we're going to cover in the next class, but I'm not going to leave you hanging for those who can, because it will also be on YouTube and on, hopefully on Facebook. But the way to be able to get knowledge to enter your heart is a process. Learning something can go in one ear and out the next. If it's not penetrating your heart, if it's not purposely with a very big kavana to let it enter your heart, and that takes time, that takes regurgitation, that takes review, that takes meditation, that takes visualizing in your mind how you're going to use that information, practicing in your mind, like that compassionate look in the mirror, visualizing the end result of what that means in practicality. More than that, we got to get that animal soul of ours that's on fire and kind of an enemy of a sort, a combating force with the godly soul that really wants to behave in the most loving and compassionate way. And we gotta work at having this animal soul of ours to be on the same page. So people don't realize this, but the Gemara actually teaches us that but for the words of prayer, our godly soul really can't fully integrate in our mind and our heart. So a lot of women, especially women, don't really pray, or they pray the brachot, or they don't really help their neshama come back into the body so that there will be a better fighting chance for this incident not to throw us off. And that is the cultivation of the deepest part of our soul to be more free, to override the Yetzer Hara's control over us. So we know thoughts create emotions. So when we have our divine intellect more awakened by our prayers, because the time of davening is a time of intellectual enlightenment. Our soul comes into our mind, and our soul then has more power to fill up our mind with positivity. Like, I'm going to be Hashem, Hashem, like Hashem, Hashem, not change. and all these concepts and all these things you learn, hopefully today and elsewhere, then has a place in your mind to then almost take over the territory, to be able to then continuously think these compassionate thoughts or whatever, knowledge that you've gained that you want to integrate. And then the more you meditate on it, the more you contemplate on it and review it in your mind's eye, then the light of this intellectual aha experience of the information can flow into your heart. And then the heart, where the Sahara is, and the animal soul's passion for anger and sadness and anxieties and all these different things, isn't as explosive, because your mind now is thinking differently. If you think negative, how dare they? I can't believe it. After I did this, the rumination grows like chametz, and then the negativity pours into your heart, and then the emotional reaction or inaction. Some people bury themselves, they block themselves, they can't be as present and emotionally there for another when they've been just shot down and criticized or treated not so rightly. So the capacity to be able to have that ultimate respect for that child or that spouse in the heat of the moment comes from not in the heat of the moment being able to get out of there. That you could train yourself. Eventually, when you do the work outside of the hot spots and the hot situations between the people, even practice in your mind. These are the thoughts I want to think about when I'm seeing that person behave that way. These are the thoughts I want to cultivate outside of the heated moment. So when the heated moment comes, just like you have a shopping list and you have this, these are the tactics. These are the tools. These are the thoughts. The Kol Yaakov. Oh, the buried casket. Whatever it takes. Whatever story. Whatever idea. To completely, continuously fill your mind in this way. And it's a daily experience of redeeming your neshama to be able to think this way, so that it'll pour over into your heart, so you'll feel this way. It starts with the mind, but then it trickles over into the place of your heart. So one of the stories, oh my gosh, that moved me, that it's like a fairy tale story, but it's like a very lesson in life when we actually see the darkness of other people. There's once a king, and he wanted to marry off his daughter, and he decided the competition in his kingdom, whoever makes the greatest picture of this king, me, the king, he says, will get my daughter as a bride. Well, the first guy was scared to make the real vision of the way the king was. So he made a picture of someone totally different. What? I'm not that. No, out. Next. So the next guy got the courage to do it, and he made it exactly like the king. The king didn't like that either. Let me tell you, he had a hunchback, bulging eyes, scars on his face. He was a midget, and he had a club foot, this king. So the king actually says, "You're making fun of me?" He couldn't see his real image. The third genius artist did this. The bulging eyes, he saw him squinting like as if to hunt, and the hunchback was gone because you couldn't really see. The club foot you couldn't see because it was like dangling over to do a shoot, and then all of a sudden, the scars, only one part of the face that had the scars you couldn't see because it was just a side view. So basically, when you see people who are on fire in whatever negative way that you see, you got to paint the picture in a way that makes you understand and bring out the best in them, as if it's like You know, like women come to me and they say that, oh, my husband is so angry, so explosive. And I go, oh, he's so holy. They look at me like what are you, no, what? I'm like, you don't understand. Someone who can get that angry has such a high soul. They have so much fire. They have so much passion. They just don't know how to channel it. So whoever is having a certain challenge with a child or a spouse, if we view them as so extraordinarily holy, but they just haven't tapped into the way by which they can channel it, then guess what? Like Aaron Cohen, oh my gosh, he honored everyone. And everyone's like, wow, Aaron is respecting me. So many stories of how many people he brought to life and how many people that he turned around from respecting. And how much more important is between husband and wife in front of the children of the ultimate respect at all costs so that we model that communication. Oh my gosh, whenever I hear the word model communication, I say like, I was at a store to fix my phone and it broke and they're like trying to sell me. Back in the days I didn't know upgrade and upgrade. I was like so clueless. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Just fix my phone. And like all the time I'm like, I don't want to upgrade a phone. I just upgrade my soul. So we want to upgrade everyone's soul. I mean, we light the Shabbos candles. So we've been taught that we can light up everyone's soul. That's the symbolism. We have the power with respect, with compassion, with understanding of how holy they are. The Kol Yaakov. Maybe in a, buried. So another key ingredient, and it's hard, and I'm still struggling with it, trust me, because we all care. But we have to dare to care less. Less. When we care too much, we become too much like a zealot. We overpower. They need their space. Just like a butterfly, you cannot rip that cocoon and make its life easier. And like, oh, I know how to do it. Yeah, I'll do it. The cocoon won't fly. They need to go through their struggles a bit. They need to figure it out a bit on their own. They need their space. But they need our love while they're going through that space, including your spouse. Nobody married us to be their policewoman, judge, dictator. I don't know, the list goes on, what we want to be. Because from our heart. Because we want to. Because it's our passion. It's our bina. It's our bina yitara. We have this like empathetic wisdom. Keen eye. We long. We want. We desire. It hurts. It really hurts. But if we dare to care a little less and let go and let God and trust that they have their journeys. It might not be the same as yours. I mean, you ever thought about it? I'm sure you did. Avram was Avram and Yitzchak was so different. And we can't puzzle their neshama to match our neshama. Avram was chesedic. Yitzchak was gvura. So opposites. Avraham all over the world. Come on, join me. Number one shliach, right? Yitzchak was in the tents. We can't say they didn't give the example. Tzaddikim. Perfect tzaddikim. We can say one soul is one soul, the other one is the other soul. Talk about respect. And hear Miriam's story. Not me, but Miriam Yerushalmi has another story, which I will tell. But this story is Miriam who...
Recording in progress.
I thought it was over. Miriam, sister prophetess of Aaron. Did you ever pay attention to that in the Chumash? Rashi does say bit of a ganai on Moshe Rabbeinu. I mean, if you're going to say Miriam the prophetess, say Aaron and Moshe, and but not even Moshe. So Rashi says, well, she was a prophetess during the time that Moshe wasn't even born. Deeper teachings of Chassidus teach us more than that. You can't have such a ganai, such a shameful sentence against Moshe, leave him out. Why? Because before Moshe was born, Miriam is the older sister, Aaron is the younger brother, and she gave him absolute respect. Now, listen to this. The power of her respecting him, because you could say, maybe you know some older sisters, I'm the older sister, I'm the boss. She was so humble. She was so bittul. She was so respectful to her younger brother that the sages teaches us that Aaron's powers of his soul became ignited because of her. It wouldn't have come out but through the respect she gave him. Then, it says, Miriam got Aaron's qualities. It wasn't hers because she gave respect to Aaron. Not only that, Miriam's own potential became exposed because of her humbling and respecting herself. And the Lubavitcher Rebbe actually teaches us that this paradigm works for all relationships, for husband and wife. We are there to bring out their potential, not by a zillion, how many times? The word for insanity? Hit your head against the wall thinking it's going to open the door. That's insane. You keep doing it, it's not working. But we keep doing it. Why? Because we care too much. We think it's all on our shoulders. If we say this and if we do that, and wow, that's going to happen. It's way more powerful, let me tell you. The eyes, seeing their pain, the ears, listening to where they're at. The ability to say, I don't have all the answers, but my heart is with you. Never forget a story. I was at and I heard the story from the woman who lost her son and her husband in a very short period of time. And what's going on right now? Oh my gosh, we really need this strength. And here the Lubavitcher Rebbe, she said she went to the Ohel to be able to get some, what's going on? I can't even say it. I have to give this class. And the Rebbe said, I have no words. In this yechidus of a woman whose son died in an airplane accident. I have no words. But what I can say, when Mashiach comes, you will have every right to demand an answer. No words? The Lubavitcher Rebbe, you could have said a zillion words. There's no words. Nothing. They're in pain. The hug, the comfort. The words can really irritate and bother. I remember one day this woman calls me, and I think she's calling me she's my friend, but she knows I'm a therapist, so of course she wants my advice. And I jumped right into the advice. And then it's like, Miriam, I didn't call you for advice. I just wanted a listening ear. Many people don't want your advice, especially when they're hurting. The presence, the care, the compassion. There's a pasuk in the Torah that says, LeYaakov asher pada es Avraham. Powerful remedy to help redeem. Because Yaakov, the story was that Avraham was in a bit of a danger zone. kings all over trying to attack him. God had compassion and said, Yaakov is going to come from you. I see down the road this amazing situation of this legacy, this like grandson of yours. Because of that, I'm going to redeem you and I save you from the four kings and all the, war. Deep teachings of Chassidus teaches us Yaakov represents compassion. Maybe I should raise it so much that Yaakov, compassion. Because that's Tiferes, that's Yaakov. He was the epitome of the sphere of compassion. Pada has the power, mystically speaking, to redeem the love of God, because Abraham represents love, the chesed, the love of God that's buried. Not this. Not so much this. A mystical power to melt away the blockages. For yourself too. You have to have compassion on yourself. And you have to practice on yourself. Because if you don't have compassion on yourself, if you can't love yourself as is, very hard to love another as is. Many times people come to me and teach this, that. I'm like, these are your potential. I'm like, no. I want to teach people to love themselves as is. So they have the power to love another person as is. That's the key to the redemption of someone else's heart. That's the key that gives them like, someone believes in me. Oh, don't you remember those teachers that believed in you? Maybe. I hope. I hope. I had a few, but saved the day. Momish. Oh my gosh. Right? So I want to leave you with maybe a few more stories that, again, really helped me open my eyes. And I'll tell you the personal story, I won't forget. Reuven, oh my goodness. He finds out that the next in line, after Rachel passes away, his mother, Leah, all the time, second. And all of a sudden, Rachel is out of the picture. And what does he see? The maidservant's bed. Not his mother. Rashi says, he rashly and with emotion, like woohoo, all over the place basically, moved the bed of his father. Look at that Rashi. What did he lose? He lost his Yerusha. He lost kingship, the seed of Mashiach that was supposed to come through him. And he lost kahuna. Now the deep teachings of the Torah says, what? Wait a minute. It came from his heart. He was in pain. He wanted to honor his mother. But in the zealotness of wanting to honor his mother, guess what he did? Dishonored his father. Could be from a good place. You want to put that child in the place. You want to call your husband. Oh, so holy. But the end result is shaming. I just gave a class somewhere, and luckily it wasn't on Facebook. But, oh my gosh. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it, but whatever, because I'm here and someone might be able to figure out that was there, but whatever. If the end result of saying what you're saying, even in L'Shem Shemaim and trying to do something good, is shaming or killing, the Ten Commandments, do not kill, do we kill? No, but it's to say, don't shame, because it kills people, basically. So, you have to be careful. It's coming from a good place, but it's mixed up with some things. Emotion, not groundedness, not thinking, through the thing, to think before you act. I'm honoring my mother, but I'm disrespecting my father. And which is fascinating, if you look at David Melech, who comes from Yehuda, hello, look what Yehuda did. Sketchy, to say the least. And what happened after? He got Malchus. Why? Because Yehuda stood up there, could have said to Tamar, dangling, whoever this is, he could have said, she deserves it. I'm not going to shame myself. Let her die. He let go of his ego. He could have said, I won't be able to do community service anymore. No one's going to look at me, and I won't have 700 likes on Facebook. But he didn't. He stood up to the challenge of the moment and made the right decision to save the life of this baby and this mother. The end result is what counts. Doesn't matter if it comes from a good place. Okay, ready for my personal story? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, gotta leave soon. Because I'll leave you with a hanger, hopefully to go to the next one. So what happened was, I read this story right after, for years, I've been doing things wrong. Because I'm a woman, I'm a zealot for Hashem and Kedusha and the home and whatever. I was robbed once by gun. We had guns shooting through our window when I lived in Ma'ale Adumim. We had my sister who, by gunpoint, her car was stolen. Guns were like not my friend, let me tell you. We were Zionists going into Israel, and miracle, miracle, we have our babies, our children growing up. Guns in the home. What? No. Me the zealot. Me the arguing in front of, disrespecting my husband. And this is when I started learning this stuff. I'm like, I can't do it this way. This is terrible what I'm doing. For real, I can't. So I had to find a way now. Because even though coming from a good place, I don't want my children playing with guns. Besides the trauma, I just don't think it's a good idea. So I had an idea, okay, the wise woman, right? Like she has to figure it out, not this way. I have to fight in a sense, in a kosher way, for the sanctity of my wishes of what I want to do. Rabbi, help. Rabbi, what does the Lubavitcher Rebbe say about guns? Now I know we just had Purim and maybe you let your children have guns, but the Lubavitcher Rebbe said, not even on Purim should children have guns. Case closed. My husband is a lawyer. I called my husband, I've been talking to my, our Bashpia, our rabbi, and I know I've been handling it so wrong. I'm so sorry. But the Rebbe said, no guns. No guns. Do you imagine how the drama, the disrespect, the fire in front of the kids? Oh my gosh, Hashem, I did the best I could with the tools I had at the time. Please forgive me. And here I am today to help others not make the same mistakes. To get this knowledge, which is in my books, a lot of the parenting tips are also in this book. There's so much more to say. But realize that each one has a holy fire. Each one is struggling to find their fire. And hopefully we'll ignite their fire. Hopefully we'll not put the muddy anymore. Hopefully we'll be able to blunt their teeth. Not that way. No. Soften the blow there. Hopefully our compassion will be more and more ignited as we more and more study these holy concepts to help us be aware, like how to, brain train, which we're going to do a lot of more in the other class. But I have to say, I started a program called CBTT, Cognitive Behavioral Torah Therapy. Because CBT is amazing because we have like, oh my gosh, a huge, powerful brain. But we need to escape our brain and go to our heart. It begins there, but then we have to shine that light of the wisdom into our heart. And if you can't come to the next class, I have many of the classes already online, but we will record it, please God, and it will come out. And anyone who wants questions or anything after that class, it's right across the street. Those of you who know Bear Miriam, Rabbi Alon's, oh my gosh, beautiful hotel. Who wants to leave? Oh my gosh, I have to stay somehow. Mashiach, just give me every chance to stay even one more day. Such an honor to be able to say any word here in such a holy place of tzvahs. I thank you for coming and letting me share, because that heals everything that wasn't and is now. When I can share and make sure someone else has some more enlightenment from my journeys, and case closed, please God, in a way that will, please God, get there. So, thank you. Yes, right now. Another class. Yes, you can follow me. Yay! With the tambourines! We'll just go. Actually Pesach is coming, right? And the splitting of the sea actually represents like this two components that we really need. And we're going to go into details on that in the next class of tefillah and learning Torah to help us get to the destination of our holy of holies of our land, our neshama. So thank you so much for joining, those of you on Facebook, those of you on Zoom, and we'll have more times to be together, please God. Tomorrow we're going to be a whole day at the Kinneret. There is availability to still go even for the day. I'm giving a class there, and hopefully also do meditation and dancing. It's very experiential on the water. It was gorgeous today. I just came back from there, and I went there and came back, and I'm going to go there again. And Mashiach, tomorrow I think I speak at around 11:30 there, or 12. And oh my gosh, Rachel Wyman is speaking tomorrow. Also, those of you, Rachel Wyman, amazing speaker, and many others. I just don't have the program here. Viva Spiegel's Tambourine Festival, I think, or how do you call it? Oh, Dream.
It's not Tambourine.
It's a different one, but she's the one who does the Tambourine Dream. So I'm so thankful to restart for really, I'm like, like sometimes people tell you, call this person, call that person. I'm like, I'm done. Come on, how many times? So, but I don't know. She was so excited. No, call. So I called, and she answered. Like, there's a person behind this WhatsApp. You know how many times you leave messages and is anyone alive over there? Like how many times? So I was so impressed how you just jumped. It's like a nakshon, and then just warmed my heart. I felt like that's Mashiach. So thank you so much, and thank you for thank you. And this may, please God, the beginning of many more. Please God, opportunities. Thank you. Bye. Questions later. I'll restart the Zoom.